As far as Jesus goes, is Jesus a part of your life at all?
Jesus is only a part of my life in terms of my fear. Like I don't really believe in God or Jesus, but I am afraid of the possibility of their existence, and because of that, I feel guilty all the time. I feel guilty about the idea of going to hell and all that stuff. I think because I was raised Catholic, maybe that's why.
Now, do you think that's the quarter Jew in you talking, or?
The quarter Jew? Yeah, so how does that shit... So I'm like... I don't know what the... Maybe it's a quarter Jew. So, yeah, saying, yeah, no... Yeah, maybe. Because I don't know what the whole deal is. They didn't believe Jesus was, like, the person. Did they believe in God? Do you know... Are you close with the Jewish heritage? Do you know anything about
I thought that they... Well, I know Howard Stern. He's a big Jew, and I think he believes in God.
Yeah. So they believe in God, but not... I think a lot of Jews are atheists. But if we're talking the Jewish religion, yeah, they believe Jesus exists, but isn't the Messiah. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah. Now, when you were a kid, and I don't know if you've ever been to church before, but even if you weren't at church... And you looked at a picture of Jesus. What did you think? Like, were you scared? Were you what would you think when you saw Jesus?
You know what? Honestly, one of the things I thought, I don't know if I was ever scared. Well, there was one picture, not at church, that like somebody had drawn that I was kind of freaked out by. It was just like scary picture of Jesus's face. But I think. I thought, well, one curious thought I had was like, I was like, are there any women who come to church and are like, they see this shirtless guy who's in somewhat good physical condition and are attracted to him, and like, are they turned on the whole time? Like, that was a thought that went through my head. But in terms of anything, I don't know. Like, I don't know. How about yourself?
Well, I was actually scared. I only been to church a few times in my life, and I think one of the first memories I had was my grandmother died. So when I was in church, I was there, and I looked at this big picture of God, and I was kind of scared of it for some reason. I don't know why. It was just I don't know if it was the cross, being nailed to the cross and everything. It just seemed like going to church because it was a funeral. It seemed like it was a bad thing. I didn't know people went to church to learn and get together and praise and all that stuff. I thought going to church was actually a bad thing. So I was actually scared of the Jesus when I was a kid.
I actually, for me, for the longest time, I went every Sunday, and I would find excuses not to go. Like, I would hide under my bed and be like, I'm stuck under my bed. And then my mom would go without me. But the interesting thing is, and maybe I'm deviating from your question. I just want to say this. Interesting thing is, my dad wasn't Christian at all, and he didn't go to church. So it would be weird sometimes to be like, Brian, I'm disappointed you didn't go to church. And I'd be thinking, well, what the hell? You didn't go. What do you really care? And then he admitted to me years later that he really didn't care.
So are your parents, like, did they make you go to church? Is it part of their thing? Like, they believe in it and everything?
So, not my dad, but he still thought it would be a good idea for us to get some upbringing like that. My mom, she came from a very white, just like 100% Irish family. And, my grandma went to church, volunteered at the Christian school. They all, when they were younger, went to Catholic school, and they even... So my mom, very Christian. They had me go to Sunday school and then CCD, which I forget what that stands for, but, there wasn't a lot of joy in church, which is weird. Like, some of these other groups there's, I'm sure comics have talked about how black churches have all these happy people, but at a Catholic church, it's like it's almost like you're mourning your life. You're like, life is meant to be lived very seriously. Back in the older days, they would actually hit the kids in the class. They hated left-handed children. And I was actually subject to some anti-Semitism for some reason, which I'm not really Jewish, but kids would be like, "Oh, you're." I don't even know why, but they would say you're a Jew. That was a common thing back then.
Oh yeah, I think CCD stands for Christ is a cool dog.
Christ is a cool dog. Yeah, we listen to Christian rock.
Do you have anything else to say about Jesus? I just wanted to make a 5-minute clip, and we have it.
Oh, we have the clip?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's it. So thank you guys for listening to the Jesus Podcast. We'll see you next time.